Hey, what's up everybody? Just going to do a bit of a follow-up video to the second to last one, the switching to Windows video. And I am coming to you guys from Windows, so I've been using it for a couple of weeks here, and I just figured I would let you guys know how I feel about it at this point. These initial impressions really is what they are. And just some of the things I've run into and what I like and don't like. I'm going to try to make this video 30 minutes or so, hopefully. We'll see though, because I did it before and it was 50, but I have a lot less stuff to talk about this time than the last take because I've changed some things. So I'm here. Obviously the hardware is fine. Let's just get that out of the way first. The hardware is fine. It is the Dell Optiplex 3060. It's a business computer. It's not anything outstanding, but it is good enough certainly for me and for probably for most people really. Has an i5 8500 6-core processor, desktop processor at 3 gigahertz. So 6-core is great. It's not a low power chip, it's a full-on desktop chip. I got 16 gigs of RAM in it, which is plenty for me it seems like. I have been monitoring my RAM use and I never really go over between 8 and 10 in general. I'm kind of like an old school computer user in that I don't really keep a lot of stuff open unless I'm actively working with it. I don't have a bunch of shit open. I don't have a bunch of browser tabs. Like if I'm not using something, it's closed, and I've always been that way. And so that lends itself to being a little bit more efficient on memory in general. And I don't have a whole lot of background applications running either. I have some now, but I don't run a bunch of stuff in the background. So my footprint's pretty light. If I need to go up to 32 gig though, I mean it'll cost, but it is totally doable. Easy swap. So, and then I have a 1 terabyte SSD in there. Now, the one thing that I did that might have been a mistake, but it was for, I guess you could say posterity, is I put a SATA SSD in there, just a regular old SATA interface. This thing has M2. I couldn't find as good of a deal on the M2 drives. And the M2 in this is like Gen 1 or Gen 2. It's some, I don't remember what the hell it is. It's a very old version of M2 PCIe, so it wouldn't have been like a massive gain in speed anyway. And I figured, you know, if for whatever reason the machine doesn't work out, I'm always in need of regular old SATA hard drives, so 1 terabyte high quality SSD would be good enough, so I just got that instead. And so far I'm only using about half of that. But I mean, that's with like pretty much everything installed that I'm going to install a bunch of documents and stuff. So we'll see if I run out of space. If I do though, I do have the option of dropping in an M2 drive or just using externals. I don't know which one I will do. Perhaps it would have been better to start with M2, but hey, I got a damn good deal. I paid like 45 bucks for this SSD, and it's a SanDisk Ultra 3D, which is one of the best SATA SSDs available. Very reputable brand that I've used forever. I always use Western Digital drives. And yeah, so that's the hardware. It's all very good. It all runs very smooth. Everything is good with regards to that. I'm using my Microsoft Internet keyboard, the ancient one from the year 99, and my trackball mouse. This thing is starting to die, I think. I have noticed the one thing. There's occasionally the mouse cursor will lag out. And I'm thinking it's the mouse, because it was doing something to where it wasn't scrolling correctly at all. Like the ball wasn't moving correctly at all. It was very slow and jittery and not three-dimensional at all. And I plugged it into the Mac, it was doing the same thing, and I had to mess with it for a while to get it to work again. But this mouse has completely crapped out on me before and then just started working months later again. So who knows. Regardless, that's all separate stuff. So hardware-wise, we're good here. I'm using a 24-inch Dell monitor. It's a U2412M 1920 by 1200, and I do find that Windows is much more efficient with screen space than Mac is. That's at least from my finding. I think that even like 1024 by 768, that's not really usable with Windows 10. I would say it was usable back in the day. 1280 by 1024 or 1280 by 800 I find is generally usable for the operating system tasks themselves. Not as much as in the old days, definitely, because like the settings app is huge, this and that. But you can get by with lower resolutions. So going down from 1440p to 1200p, it is a drop, but it's not massive. It's I still have enough screen space, and the way that I work with applications on Windows is a little different, and it's adequate. It's definitely adequate. I had originally planned to get a 27-inch monitor for this machine, but I'm not even going to bother. I'm going to run this thing till it dies and probably just buy the same thing again. I don't care about high DPI because I can't see the difference. Well, I can see the difference, but I don't care about the difference. It's legible enough to me. Windows handles font smoothing better on lower res screens than Mac does. They completely ruined it on the Mac. But anyway, so that's good. Everything about it is just very good in terms of the basics. The hardware is great. It automatically activated. I have Windows 10 Pro on this machine because it was a business machine, which came in use because I'm going to tell you guys about something. So first off, I'm going to get the bad out of the way first with using Windows, because it's all Windows based. It's not hardware related. It's Virtual Store. If you know about Virtual Store on Windows, it's been there since like Vista days. It has to do with user account control. I knew that it existed, but I didn't know quite what it did, because I never ran into this problem, because I really never used Windows 7 in the capacity to run into this, because I was always an XP guy. You know, I grew up using Windows 98 and then XP, and I use XP to this day in various capacities, all offline now, so don't bitch about that. But so that's what I'm used to. I wasn't thinking Virtual Store is a thing, you know. So I install all these old applications and stuff, and they're in program files. And when you're running programs in program files, it creates this Virtual Store to where it stores all of the documents and files that that application creates, get put in your user folder in a hidden folder. It emulates the program files folders. So everything's all segregated. The files are not with the applications like they would be if you were on an XP. And that bugged me. That really bugged me. I don't like having to go all over the place for stuff, even if it theoretically is working fine. I don't like that. So, but luckily, like I say, I'm using Windows 10 Pro. I have the option to disable it. So I did that, and it is disabled. However, all of the applications the majority of the applications I had installed while Virtual Store was on were still looking in Virtual Store. And therefore some of them I was able to fix just by running as administrator. Some of them I needed to completely reinstall, because you cannot get out of that folder to go find the new program files folder where the application actually is. You just can't do it. So I had to reinstall some applications just because of that, which if I knew and did it a second time, it wouldn't happen again. But yeah, it pissed me off. It really pissed me off having to do all that. I don't like that kind of authoritarian, move your stuff somewhere else, isolate it, sandbox it. That's what the Mac started to do. And I don't like that. But like I say, luckily I have Windows 10 Pro, so going forward I'm only running Pro versions. That's basically confirmed. Pro or Enterprise, because Enterprise has to do with the next one, which is updates. You can control your updates on Enterprise. On Pro, you can't. So basically the way it works is when you do updates on Windows, you get all of your updates, and then some are flagged as optional. The ones that are flagged as optional are almost always driver installs, which are usually out of date. But so the optional ones, whatever, leave them alone. But almost every single update that relates to the OS or your programs or anything is non-optional. They all install. You cannot choose which ones you want and which ones you don't want. They all install at the same time. Either you take everything or you take nothing. And even then, you only get about a month before they just update it for you. And they will restart your machine if it needs to restart outside of active hours. And I don't like that kind of stuff. I don't like automatic updates. I'm fine. I realize that they're going to have automatic updates on by default. That's okay. Let me disable it, or let me get back to where, like back on XP or 7 or Mac, I get a list of updates with checkboxes. I can go through and choose what I want to do. You can't do that on Windows 10. The one saving grace here is that since Windows 10 isn't current anymore, it's still supported, but it's not the current system. I don't get nearly as many updates coming down the pike, so I've done the initial tranches of updates, and I'm hopefully good to go for a while, so they shouldn't be too often, so it won't bug me so much. But yeah, it just pisses me off. It's a big irritant. Everybody kind of knows that, though, and I kind of knew going in. I thought being on Windows 10 Pro I would have more options, but nope, you have to be on Enterprise for that. So that sucks. Or another problem I had with updates is, I'm using Office 2003 on this, and again, some people are probably bawling their freaking eyes out because I'm using a 20-year-old version of Office and it hasn't been supported in 10 years. I don't give a flying fuck whether it's been supported in 10 years or not. I don't open random files. I don't use those applications that much other than to create my own documents. The attack vector is very limited. It's slight. I mean, who gives a damn about that? Because here's the facts, guys. I'm not spending a monthly fee to use Office programs that I only launch a couple times a month. I'm not spending $150 for perpetual, however much it is, $150, $300. I don't know how much the licenses are. I could probably look. How much for Office license? $70 a year. Lifetime license. And it's out of date. So yeah, if you buy a perpetual license, it's out of date. It's not even the up-to-date version. It's a different version slightly than anything else for home. But yeah, I'm not going to update it. Oh yeah, $100 a year. I mean, like, where do you just buy it? Where do you just buy it? You can't, so forget about it. I'm not doing it, whatever, screw it. So if I'm going to be out of date, I'm going to use the version that I like, which is 2003, because that's the last one without the ribbon. So, complain about it. But anyway, what I was getting at with that whole thing, I shouldn't have done that. But, I don't like, when it installed all the updates for Office 2003, I didn't think about it again. This was my mistake, but it's so dumb how much they shove it down your throat. I deleted all of the cache files that Office uses because I didn't think I was going to have to do anything further, because it's the year 2023, not 2003, so like there's no new updates coming out for this program, so forget about it. But I didn't think about the fact that all those updates would come right down from Windows Update. I thought I would just do them manually. So they all come. And there was one update that was getting stuck over and over at 10%. It would fail at 10%. So just over and over and over, I'm getting spammed. Downloading. This update failed. We'll try again later. Downloading. And it literally kept going up. So the whole time there's network traffic, stuff's coming down and up the chain the whole time. I couldn't stop it. You want to know why? Because it needs those cache files. If you deleted them, you are screwed unless you have an original CD. So for your 20-year-old software, if you don't have the CD for it, you literally have a perpetual update that is looping over and over and over. You cannot turn it off. There is no way out unless you have that disk. No way out. And it's just like, really, guys? Really? And luckily, like I say, I was able to go get my disk and install the update manually, but if you didn't have it, you are literally stuck with the update server talking to Microsoft all the time and getting spammed with notifications that the update failed. It's like, I don't like it. I don't like it at all. So that's the biggest problem I have with the OS. Everything else here I've addressed. Things I didn't like the start menu, because I turned off all the shit on the side, the advertisements, this and that, all the pinned apps. I don't care about that stuff necessarily. I just want a list of programs, basically, and a couple other shortcuts, but you can't add anything else, so it's just a list of programs. And it's all alphabetized. You have these thick areas where it shows what letter you're on. It's like, and you have to scroll through it, and you have to click to open every single folder. It's so slow to navigate and use, so I don't even use that start menu. I didn't even use it at all. Like, you just press start and start typing and find what you need. But I wanted to have something that I could use with the mouse, because I do like to at least have the option to be mouse only as much as I can with the GUI of the machine. And that start menu sucks for mouse use. For mouse use, when you have a bunch of programs installed, you are scrolling and scrolling and scrolling, and if you have to go through folder and folder and folder, click, 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 down the chain. So I use this program called OpenShell. And now I have the the classic start menu, the one that was in like Windows 2098. You could enable it in XP. The one that's tiny, because that Windows 10 one was big even just with the list. Now I have this smaller one here and it works perfect. I have, not only do I have the ability to just start typing and search, but I have this old setup here where I can navigate the entire computer's file system without clicking my mouse one time, because you can just hover your mouse over the My Computer or this PC thing and literally dig right in. The whole system, I just filled my whole screen up with Windows files. And I mean, it's really that simple. So the fact that I could do that is cool. So OpenShell is a good program for that. And, you know, I got curious with that, and I installed this other program. Oh, I didn't install, because what's cool about this program, it's called RetroBar, and it basically changes the taskbar. It just swaps it out for a custom taskbar, and you can run the old style Windows taskbars. So right now I'm using XP, but they all basically work the same. They just look kind of different. You can change it to the Vista one or the Windows Classic one or whatever you want. And now I have the old school where I can hide the, I have that tray, whatever you want to call it, where you can hide the icons down there and then choose which ones you don't want to hide. And I have the balloon back, so you don't have those big notifications that pop up anymore. It just, everything's more condensed. It's that small. The first thing I did when I installed the OS was I got rid of the thick taskbar. I like it as small as possible, take up as little space as possible on screen. And again, this RetroBar program is really cool because it doesn't actually install. It's just an exe file. It doesn't mess with your system at all. If you don't want to use it anymore, there's no repercussions at all. Stop using it. And I can quit out of it at any time. If I don't want to use it, I don't have to use it. I don't even have it set up to start with the system, so it's literally completely non-intrusive. And that's the way I like my stuff. This OpenShell is a little more, I don't know if I'd trust to uninstall it without doing a complete refresh, because some people, it just messes their system up. But the only reason I would do so is to get system resources back, and I don't think that's going to be a problem. Like even this RetroBar, the RetroBar uses like 100 mega RAM. It doesn't use CPU, but it uses like 100 mega RAM. Which when I have 16 gig and I'm not really using that much of it, does it really matter? Probably not, but if I ever need the resources, just go ahead and quit it and then bring it right back. So those are the things that I installed that are like system level modifications. The rest, I did do some other system mods, but they're all registry hacks. Again, I like that you can do that. I brought back the old volume indicator because, again, or the volume indicator, the volume slider. I have XP sounds just for old time's sake, because that's kind of what I have for the aesthetic of this thing. Instead of having that one that's side to side, I just find it so much easier to grab a bar that scrolls up and down rather than left and right. I don't like that ever. I didn't like it when they changed it on the Mac either with Yosemite. So that's nice and cool there. That was a registry hack. And then you can go to the mixer right from there, which is also a very nice little bonus. I changed the Alt-Tab screen back to the old one where it just shows the icons instead of the windows, the whole window preview. That is a good feature, but I'm glad that you can disable it. It just makes everything smaller. Again, get the UI elements as small as possible. And I got the one that I really like. Oh, I brought back the picture viewer from Windows 7 because it's less bloated than the Photos app that comes with the OS. For just clicking on pictures, it's a lot quicker. Because guess what? That Windows 7 photo viewer is literally still in the OS. You just have to re-enable it. And then the other thing I did is I disabled the ribbon in Explorer. I had to do that. It was driving me crazy. I hate the ribbon in any form, whether it be Office or File Explorer. It does not. The ribbon was a terrible idea. I'm glad they moved away from it again for Windows 11. I haven't really used Windows 11 Explorer, but I'm assuming it's better than this, because things that used to be like, there's literally no undo. There's literally no undo in the graphical user interface by default. None. But here I can come to edit, undo, redo, right there. Copy to folder, move to folder. You click it one time, it opens up. Instead of having to open the ribbon, because I don't keep the ribbon up at all times because it's so huge and thick, it makes the windows massive. Then you have to go to you scroll all the way over to copy to folder, click it, and then it comes up with this long list that goes the whole length of your screen of commonly used folders. And then you got to click choose location just to get the classic screen to come up to move it where you want it. Here, again, I click edit, copy to folder, bam, there you go. View, if I want my view, it's all in a list. Sort by is in a list, all of it. It's so much simpler without the ribbon. So basically, it's like it's working like Windows 7 Explorer here, which is what I want. So yeah, I just did tweaks like that. I didn't install like window blinds or stupid stuff like that. It's just everything. I can revert this to the way that it came very easily. And I like that. I don't like messing with the system, because when you start adding on all these apps and shit, you end up affecting the stability of the system, and that's what I'm trying to avoid. I want a stable system. The whole goal here is to make the computer more usable, not less. So as for like disabling themes, service, and stuff, like just forget about that kind of stuff. But here I'm keeping my hand light enough, and I have it more like I want it. Or like another thing I did is I copied the task manager from XP over, because it's, again, the new task manager is good. It shows more info, but it's a lot bigger, and if you just want to see the processes, it takes forever to scroll through. So if I want to just see the processes, or want to pull up the Hexacore usage history real quick in a smaller window size, I will open up the XP one. If I need the other info for the services and stuff, I'll go to the new one. I have both of them right in the taskbar, so no problem there. Perfect. Just little things like that. Or I also, like, I have the XP calculator, because once again it opens faster than the Metro style one, whatever you want to call it. I got rid of Windows Media Player, stuff like that. I just kind of de-Windows 10'd it, I guess you could say. I just kind of tweaked it a little bit around the edges and made it very usable. And with it like it is now, for me, this is basically everything that I would want from Windows. I still think XP was overall better from a usability perspective, but you can't get everything, obviously. It is what it is, really. I have it in a state where it's usable enough. I know some people are going to bitch at me like, well, just fucking get used to it. Windows 10 is already out of date. So if I wanted to get used to it, I'd go to Windows 11. And by the way, every single tweak that I did to this system works on Windows 11. So there you go. If the options are built into the operating system, or there are apps available, why should I not take advantage of that? I want the computer to work the way I want it to work, instead of the other way around. And it's not like I had to jump through a lot of hoops to even get to this stage. That's what I'm getting at. I could redo this in 10-15 minutes. So here I just want to show you real quick what I did. Let's see if I can. Here we go, my desktop. I know it's pretty blurry, but you'll get the point. So yeah, there's the XP start menu. I can quit out of it if I want to. See, we can exit that. No problem. There's your task manager for the new one. I have the XP one right over there. I have Firefox Pen. Another thing I like in the old one is when you click this, it doesn't expand out from that. It just puts it here. I don't like that it prioritizes these first. So that's another thing. Here I have that whole. We can expand that, so we can also do the volume adjust that they got rid of. And I can change, like I said, I can change the theme here. Where do I do that? Here. So I can change it. Like if I want to make it this silver theme, bam, look at that. Isn't that cool? Just instantaneously change it. Or if I want to do classic, bam, there you go. Isn't that neat? They're all cool. I like all of them. See there, another one I like. But I'm just using XP right now. But yeah, you can just do anything like that. And there's some different options. So that's a cool little application. Like I say, it just runs on its own. It doesn't actually affect the system at all. You can put the taskbar on the side, and it works exactly like it should. Yeah, it's just a cool application. You can add the Show Desktop button back. I don't use that really. Maybe I'll enable it eventually. I never even use it on Windows 7. I just never felt the need to. And then I'll show you the. I can't really Alt-Tab right now. Let me open this up. See, I can Alt-Tab between the two. And then here's the start menu that I added. Again, it's just so much simpler. Again, like here, I can go to Settings. I just mouse over it. I don't have to click. And then there's the Control Panel. Bam, there's all your stuff in the Control Panel. You want to go to Administrative Tools? Bam, there you go. Just mouse over it. You can navigate through everything. It's the same way with all of these. You can just navigate right through it. There's the run button, and I can do the search right there. Just start typing right from here, and I'm good to go. And if I need to, I can fall back to the Windows 10 one. Yeah, you just mouse over. You don't have to click anything, and it's a very small window. It's not obtrusive at all. It just kind of works. You know, and all your programs are there if you need to get something typed for it or find it yourself, whatever you want to do. So, I mean, that's really simple. That's just a good, clean system. It just works for me. It just works for me. So I really like it. I like the Windows experience. I hate the updates. Everything else I was able to fix. I just hate the updates. That's the one thing with Windows that I don't like. But again, I'm using Windows 10 for at least 2 or 3 more years, so I won't have to be bothered, and then I'll probably move on to Windows 11, because Windows 12 will be filled with AI and garbage like that. So then maybe I don't know what the hell will come after that. See if Windows, probably they'll just go to 14 because they're cowards. They didn't name Office 2010 13 because they were scared. But that's such a dumb comment, but they literally didn't. They skipped the version number 13 for Microsoft Office. But yeah, so the experience is good. It's Mac is probably, I've learned how to use Mac well enough that I'm just as fast with it, but I like that I can tweak the system. I like that all of my applications are running, because that's really what matters, guys. I'm glad that I got the OS so usable, but what mattered was getting a front for all of my applications to run again. And that's what I have. The overwhelming majority of the stuff that I tried, some of these apps are 25 years old, and the majority of them worked. Some of them I had to do different things to get them to work, or they work somewhat, but for the majority of them, I was able to get them to work, and if I can't get them to work, I have a virtual machine to fall back on. The majority of my games worked. Overwhelming majority of them. And to speak about games, real quick, I'll go through some of them that I ran on here and give you a benchmark, because what I'm trying to do basically is what I want. I don't play modern video games at all. I just play up to like the late 2000s, early 2010s, and we're using Intel HD graphics, UHD graphics 630. What I want is something that's equivalent to an NVIDIA 8800 GT card, or GTX, or Ultra, or any of the 8800 cards. I just want something like that. This is a little worse, but we're at the point where we're just about as good as that. If you were to use a modern integrated graphics, so like 5 years newer than this, you would be eclipsing that. So I'm right on the precipice of it, and everything works well enough that I'm happy with it. I even ran 3D Mark 06 and I got like 1400 score. I know it's not the best test because the hardware is so much newer than the test, but 1400 score was better than the majority of those systems running the 8800s. There you go. Stuff I ran here like Civilization 4 ran beautifully, absolutely flawless, smooth as hell, 100 plus, 200 plus FPS, just incredibly smooth. Call of Duty World at War, this game is laggy. If you turn off the like dynamic oceans or whatever the hell it's called, it runs better, but World at War is just a shitty game from a coding perspective. It just doesn't work well. Call of Duty 2, perfect. Battlefield 2, perfect. Call of Duty 1 and United Offensive, perfect. All of these are running at maximum settings and 1920 by 1200 unless I know otherwise, or 1600 by 1200 if they don't support widescreen. DOSBox staging works excellent. Great version of DOSBox. Battlefield again works great. Halo 2 Project Cartographer, flawless, amazing. Enemy Territory Quake Wars, another one of those games that doesn't run very well, but I think it's because of the game itself, because it runs like shit on this computer too. For some reason, it's just stuttery, it's glitchy. LucasArts, Star Wars Battlefront plays perfect. I have both the Steam version and the original version because the aspect ratio correction is the vert, so I don't like it on the Steam version, but they both run perfect. Jedi Academy actually runs worse than you'd expect it to, but the graphics have additional mods installed because it's an open source port. Like when there's a lot of explosions and stuff, it lags out a little bit. Just it's a little choppy sometimes, which is kind of surprising, but Jedi Outcast runs fine. However, Marble Blast Ultra runs great, perfect. I'll have to show you guys that. That's another open source version that's really good. EU3 didn't try, probably works perfectly. EU2 plays excellent. The fact that it works is just killer, like I say. Quake 3, perfect. San Andreas, perfect. And I have SAMP again, so there you go. Fabulous. Half-Life stuff. All of the original Half-Life stuff runs beautifully, even in Direct 3D. Or no, it was OpenGL that I was running it in. Yeah, it runs perfect. Steam games here I have. AudioSurf, perfect. Call of Duty 4, perfect. Other than the bot mod causing stutters, but it's a CPU-based mod, and it's just a glitch in the mod, because obviously a mod from 2010 for a game from 2007 being stuttery on a processor from 2018 is something I can change. Counter-Strike Source, perfect. Half-Life 2, perfect, other than when stuff explodes. I don't know why, but that every computer I've ever owned, Half-Life 2 lags. Like when you shoot the city scanner things, it lags. I don't know why. But the multiplayer ones play perfect. Like Half-Life 2 Deathmatch, perfect even when there's explosions. Battlefront 2, perfect. Republic Commando, perfect. Team Fortress 2, almost perfect. Again, max settings, 1920 by 1200. It's a little stuttery. Sometimes it just kind of lags slightly, but it's totally playable. Totally playable on max settings, which is good for that game because that game's very bloated. Rainbow Six 3, perfect, other than occasional stutters, but that has to do with the game itself. You can do different tweaks and stuff, but I don't do it because it's going to drive me mad trying to determine whether there's a difference. If it stutters slightly less or more, I'm not even going to bother. Oblivion, almost perfect. If you turn off grass, the game runs at 60 FPS all the time. The grass lags the game out massively. I don't know why. If you run it at 1024 by 768 or 1280 by 1024, even with the grass, it runs perfect on max ultra settings. At 1920 by 1200, if you turn off the grass, the game plays flawlessly pretty much. Again, it's a little stuttery, but that's an Oblivion problem. It doesn't have anything to do with my hardware. It just, for some reason, on newer hardware than the game is designed for, it just gets a little stuttery sometimes. And then Skyrim is laggy. It is laggy. I had to turn the settings down to get that one to play decent. So, but I mean, that, like I say, almost all of them are perfect. You would definitely notice an increase going up, because like I say, well, they're all perfect, as in they're all high frame rate and playable, but all of them have that little where they're not 1000% smooth. There's sometimes it's a little jittery, like just not, well, maybe not even jittery, but you can tell it's like it's not 100% smooth. It's just not, but it's not laggy, it's not choppy, it's not glitchy. It's totally playable, but it doesn't look the smoothest. Here, I'll go on. But I think that's just a problem with how new the hardware is. I don't even know if that's a problem with mine, but they're all playable, like I say. Unreal Tournament 2004, perfect. Other than Onslaught maps get kind of laggy when there's explosions. Again, it's just kind of is what it is. Unreal 99 works perfect. Fuck you, Epic Games, for delisting the shit. Fucking Fortnite. Minecraft works perfect. Flawless. Amazing performance on Minecraft. Way better than I expected. And that's it. So, those are all the games that well, that's not all of them, but that's all the games that I have in my start menu anyway. So yeah, I'm damn impressed with the performance of this thing from a gaming perspective. I will never put a GPU in it, ever, because, you know, I was talking about the 8800 GT card. I know guys who were running those in SLI, so they had 2 of them in their system. And they were getting performance that was about equal to mine. Sometimes worse. Sometimes better, sometimes worse. You want to know how much they were using with those cards? They had 800 watt power supplies, at minimum 600 watt, sometimes closer to 1000 watt power supplies. I'm running all this on a 200 watt power supply. Massive difference. For me, that does matter. It really does matter. I keep a low footprint. I don't run a bunch of shit in the machine. I don't need to. The only problem I have with it is, again, the storage situation. If it had 2 SATA, I wouldn't even bother with the M2, but I might have to drop an M2 drive in there at some point. Otherwise, the hardware is flawless, all at 200 watts. because I like to keep the costs down. I do, especially here in my freaking retarded state where the DEP, I mean, the costs are going through the fucking roof in the next 5 years. I'm sure of it. I'm just sure of it. I could do a whole video bitching about it, if you guys know what I'm talking about. But so I keep my energy costs lower, which is good. And I don't blow a freaking fuse, man. But yes, that's basically everything. I tried to get through this fairly quick. I tried to talk fast, but there was a lot of stuff to cover, so I did pretty good here to get to 35. I will maybe do some more videos on this. If there's anything you want to see, let me know. I might show some stuff in some vids. I'm not sure exactly what to show, what's necessary, what you guys would care about. I don't know. I just don't know. And it's kind of a bitch to show it off with this big screen and not having a good place to put the camera. I could definitely screen record because this one can handle it better, but I would like to show you the completely unadulterated performance without the overhead of a recording software. But Fraps does run beautifully on it. I don't even know if I need to use Fraps because I have this, but, you know. So anyway, maybe I'll do some more vids on it. If not, I'll probably see you guys for the 14th anniversary of the channel. And I will catch you guys later.